Okay, so welcome. To Zen. Let's see, today's June 22nd, 2025. And we have a great speaker today, Roger Hillyard. Roger, is it okay if I say your bio?
Sure.
Roger came to Zen practice in 2007, and he studied as a non-resident at City Center for 4 years. And during that time, he became the Jiko, or the attendant, to Vicky Austin. And then he stayed in that role for 6 more years. He received Buddhist precepts and lay initiation from Vicky, or Shoshan, in 2009. And 2011, he became a full-time resident at San Francisco's City Center. He's lived and worked at Tassajara, Green Gulch, and City Center. He served on the San Francisco Zen Center board and held a variety of positions in 3 temples. Roger was the Shuso, or the head student, for the fall 2020 practice period at City Center. And in 2025, he was lay entrusted by his teacher, Rinso Ed Sadazan. Entrustment invested him as a practice leader charged with practicing and teaching the Dharma. In addition to his Zen practice, Roger's been actively involved in recovery for over 30 years. So we have the great good fortune of Roger joining us today. He's going to talk about Dharma gates and about lay entrustment. And we're really happy to have you here today, Roger. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. So my voice is a little sharp. I may well have COVID, that new variety. I've just received a text from a close friend that we were together last night in an AA meeting and then at dinner, and he tested positive. So I may also, but I don't have any tests here where I am out in Bolinas. At any rate, I was lay entrusted just a month ago, and it was a major transition in my life. I began working towards lay entrustment after I was Shuso some 5 years ago, and I began sewing this Rakusu 2 years ago. I was lay entrusted by my teacher, as Kirk said, Rinso Ed Sadison, and assisted by my previous teacher, Victoria Austin. So lay entrustment's a path I chose early on. I did not choose to become a priest. I consciously made that decision because I felt that lay practice is incredibly important and is often overlooked. We can so easily get caught up in the model of, I'll go to a Zen temple or practice, start that, and I will then become lay ordained, receive Jukai, and then I will go on and receive priest ordination, and then. That is a very valid path, obviously. And several of you here in this meeting have pursued that path, even to the point and beyond to Dharma transmission. But I felt for myself, I can easily and often do get caught up in, actually, it's a gaining mind. Okay, I mean, when I first came to Zen Center and I saw people in the Rakusus, I didn't perceive a difference in the color. I just saw them all with Rakusus. I said, I want one of those, you know. And it was like, I don't know if you've had this experience, some of you, but you may relate to it. When I was in high school, we wanted to have a letter jacket. That was a jacket that you received, and if you received a letter in a sport, varsity sport, you got it on your jacket, and you could strut around the high school looking big and powerful. And also, if you went, oftentimes you gave it to your girlfriend, and she got to wear it, and you felt even more proud. Well, I get caught up in that, and that's what that first Rakusu represented to me. And it took some time before I realized it was not about status. It was not about gaining. And I have a propensity to do that. So lay practice became important to me. Also, I think it's important to model lay practice. And valid to pursue that path, that they don't have to join a temple, they don't have to go to a monastery, that they can be good Zen students with their lay practice, and that they have a lot to offer, and they have a lot to offer to others. So that's why I chose that. And I followed that. And as I said, a month ago, I was lay transmitted. Recently, I suffered some health problems that landed me in the hospital. And that mishap led me to this transition in my practice, in my life. You know, there's one of the Lojong slogans is, turn all mishaps into the path. And while I went through that Dharma gate of having to go to the hospital actually 3 different times in the beginning of March, it worked for me in a way. That mishap changed things in my life, which was symbolized by the Dharma or the lay transmission. And I really appreciate it. Ryokan, a Soto Zen poet in the 1700s, wrote, to find the Dharma, drift east and west, come and go, trusting yourself to the waves. And the poet Rilke wrote, we are not permitted to linger, even with what is most intimate. From images that are full, the spirit's stream plunges down to others that suddenly must be filled. There are no lakes till eternity. Here, falling is best, to fall from the mastered emotion into the guest at and onwards. So this is really referring to Dharma gates, the waves coming and going. No lingering, even what is most intimate, because we are continually confronted with Dharma gates. And these are blessings. The third bodhisattva vow is, Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. Now, that's not always easy. In times have arisen when I said, I'm tired of Dharma gates. I don't want to have to enter another one. But lo and behold, like going to the hospital, even that was a blessing on the other side. I have and I am entrusting myself to the waves. I'm not permitted to linger. To be in entrustment means that I have been invested and charged with the duty and responsibility, just as Brian has been charged with the duty and responsibility to pass these teachings on to those that are lay practitioners, to those that aren't lay practitioners, for us to model that behavior. And it's a duty and a responsibility that I take to my heart. It's incredibly important. So we often have the mistaken idea that the Dharma is something outside of our ordinary lives. It is outside of drifting east and west, as the poet Ryokan said, outside of coming and going. Dharma is ordinary. Dharma gates are ordinary. This is part of the reason that lay practice is so important. That's part of the reason why I chose lay practice. We can entrust ourselves to life itself. We can, as Katagiri Roshi used to say, just live or understand the process of coming and going. The Buddha entrusted his students. 3 times the Buddha patted the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva on the head and spoke these words. For immeasurable hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, millions of Sakakama kalpas, I have practiced this hard to attain law of supreme perfect enlightenment. Now I entrust it to you. You must accept, uphold, read, recite, and broadly propagate this law, causing all living beings everywhere to hear and understand it. So we are all entrusted, whether we've been ordained as priests or lay entrusted. The Buddha entrusted us all to carry forward his teaching. And I accept and vow to uphold and recite and propagate this law for the benefit of all beings. So, as I mentioned, lay entrustment ceremony was a Dharma gate. It was a bridge to transformation. And transformations often require courage. You know, being in the hospital, going back 1, 2, 3 times over a period of 3 weeks was daunting. But the fourth paramita, diligence, is very important. And that clearly required my diligence. So in the certificate of lay teacher entrustment, it says, acknowledging and valuing equally the expression of Zen practice in both formal settings and in daily life, and affirming both lay and monastic practice as expressions of the Bodhisattva way. You know, Pico Iyer said, anyone can sit in a zendo. The trick is to sit in the world. So skillfulness is a very important component of our Bodhisattva aspiration. It refers to the manifestation of wisdom and compassion. We may have compassion, but if we don't apply wisdom and real life experience, the job of the lay entrusted teacher, believe me, is to bring forth that real life experience. We may do more harm than good. We need skillfulness. Major life changes that change our sense of ourselves and our lives are significant Dharma gates. So as I mentioned, we turn all mishaps into the path. Also, it's important to mention that all Dharma gates are not difficulties or not problems or not obstacles. You know, recently my youngest granddaughter graduated from high school, and that was a Dharma gate experience, going to her graduation, going to her choir concert afterwards, and going to a dinner celebrating that. And that was obviously transformative for her, but also for her grandfather. And it was a special, special event. So turn towards any Dharma gates you encounter with curiosity, willingness, and determination. There is always a way through, and the blessing of passing through a Dharma gate is greater wisdom and compassion. Entering Dharma gates in the quiet of morning, the world unfolds its endless teachings. There are gates to be entered. Each gate asks nothing but your presence. A moment of stillness, a step without knowing, a bow to the mystery. Enter not to escape, but to become. Anger becomes a teacher, loneliness a light, joy a song. Some gates are narrow, others are vast. All gates lead home. So vow, wherever there is a gate, you will walk, not because you must, but because the path is endless. Thank you. So my voice held out.
Roger, thank you so much. Shall we sit? Steve, you'll be the Doan. Thank you.